It was supposed to be the happiest time of his life. The wedding date was near, and everything was ready. The man had found the love of his life, and he believed nothing could go wrong now. His fiancée was kind, simple, and always stood by him. They planned their future together with dreams in their eyes. The house was full of wedding talks, dresses, and invitations. But not everyone was happy. His parents never accepted his fiancée. They thought she was not good enough for their family. They never said it in front of him directly at first, but their behavior was cold and distant. Slowly, things started to change. Small comments turned into insults. And behind closed doors, they called her trash and said she was not worthy of their son. The man tried to ignore it. He thought things would get better with time. But one evening changed everything. A family meeting was called before the wedding. The house was full of relatives, and everything felt normal at first. People were smiling, talking, and drinking tea. Then suddenly, the atmosphere changed. His parents stood up and started speaking loudly. In front of everyone, they insulted his fiancée. They called her trash and said she did not deserve to enter their family. The room went completely silent. No one expected this moment. Then came the final shock. His parents announced that they would not attend the wedding. Not only that, they asked other family members to boycott it too. The man stood there frozen. His heart was racing, but he could not speak a single word. Everything he planned, everything he dreamed, was breaking in front of him. After that shocking day, everything in his life started to fall apart. The house that once felt warm and full of wedding joy now felt cold and heavy. No one laughed anymore. No one talked about celebrations. Only silence lived there. His parents were firm on their decision. They stopped speaking to him like before. His father avoided eye contact, and his mother acted like nothing happened, but her words still echoed in his mind. Cancel this wedding, they told him again and again. She's not right for you. Relatives also started calling him. Some were angry, some were worried, but all of them said the same thing. Choose family over love. Every call felt like pressure on his chest. But the hardest part was his fiancée. She could see his pain. She could see the distance growing between him and his family. One night, she softly told him, "If I am the reason your family is breaking, I can walk away." Those words hit him deeply. He looked at her and felt something break inside. She was not the problem. She was the only person standing with him in this storm. But still, he was trapped between two worlds. Family on one side, love on the other. At night, he could not sleep. He kept thinking about everything. The insults, the boycott, the silence, the pressure. And slowly, something began to change inside him. He stopped reacting. He stopped arguing. Instead, he started watching everything carefully, because now he understood something important. This was no longer just a family disagreement. It was turning into something much deeper. And without saying a word, he made one silent decision. Days passed, but nothing became normal again. The wedding date was still close, but the happiness was gone. The house felt empty even when people were inside. Everyone was waiting for him to make a decision, but he stayed quiet. His parents completely stopped supporting the wedding. They treated it like it did not exist. His father would leave the room when he entered. His mother spoke only when needed, and even then, her words were cold. Relatives also changed their behavior. Some stopped calling. Some called only to remind him of family respect and tradition. He felt like he was standing alone in the middle of everyone he once trusted. Even outside the house, people had started talking. Friends and neighbors had heard about the situation. Some felt sorry for him. Others judged him. But no one truly understood what he was going through. At work, he tried to act normal. He smiled when needed, worked like usual, but inside he was tired. His mind was never at peace. His fiancée stayed patient through everything. She did not fight back. She did not blame anyone. She simply supported him in silence, even when she herself was hurting. One evening, while he was alone, his phone rang. It was an unknown number. He hesitated, then answered. On the other side, a calm voice spoke something unexpected. A name was mentioned, a connection to his father's past. And in that moment, everything inside him stopped. Because what he heard next was not just a message. It was the beginning of a truth he was never supposed to know. And that truth could change everything about his family. After that strange phone call, his mind could not rest. The voice on the phone had mentioned a name he had never heard before, but his father reacted to it in a very different way. That alone made everything feel suspicious. The next day, he quietly started asking small questions. Not directly, not in a way that would create conflict. He simply observed, listened, and connected small details from the past. Slowly, a hidden story began to appear. Years ago, before his engagement, there was something in the family that was never spoken about. A business issue, a broken trust, a relationship that ended badly between two families. And somehow, his fiancé's family was connected to that old incident. Now, everything started to make sense. His parents were not only judging her character, they were carrying old anger, pain that never healed. And they were using the wedding as a way to stop history from repeating itself. But the problem was they never told him the truth. Instead, they chose insults. They chose silence. They chose control. He sat alone one night, thinking deeply. For the first time, he did not feel only hurt, he felt clarity. His fiancée was not the real problem. She was caught in something she never even created. His hands tightened as he realized how unfair everything had become. But instead of breaking down, something inside him became stronger. After discovering the hidden truth, he changed completely, but in silence. He still went to work. He still talked normally. On the outside, nothing looked different. But inside, his mind was working in a new direction. He stopped arguing with his parents. He stopped defending his fiancée in front of them. He realized that words were no longer useful in this situation. Instead, he started planning quietly. He reviewed everything he had learned about the past conflict between the families. He carefully thought about every connection, every name, and every old event that had been ignored for years. His goal was not revenge through anger. It was truth through actions. The wedding preparations continued, but now he was in full control of them. He handled guest lists, invitations, and arrangements himself. His parents assumed he was still emotionally weak, but they had no idea what he was preparing. Slowly, he started inviting people from both sides of the family history. Not loudly, not openly, just quietly adding names to the guest list. Even his fiancée noticed the change in him. He was calmer, but more focused. When she asked him what he was planning, he only said, "Just trust me." He did not explain more. Days passed, and the wedding day came closer. Everything looked normal from outside. But behind that normal look, something big was building. A situation where everyone who spoke, judged, and hid the truth would finally be in the same place. And this time, he would not need to say anything, because the truth itself was going to speak. His parents still believed they were in control. But for the first time, they were completely wrong. The wedding day finally arrived. Everything looked perfect from the outside. The hall was beautifully decorated. Guests were arriving. Soft music was playing. Smiles could be seen everywhere. It looked like a normal, peaceful wedding ceremony. But inside the main character's heart, there was complete calm. No stress, no fear, only patience. His parents arrived too, but their faces were serious. They still believed the wedding should not happen. They thought he would change his mind at the last moment. They did not know what was waiting for them. As the ceremony started, the hall slowly filled with important guests. Some of them were from his side of the family. Some were from connections his parents had not seen in years. Whispers started in the crowd. People began recognizing each other. Old names were being mentioned again. The atmosphere slowly changed. Then came the moment that changed everything. A speaker at the event mentioned the old history between the two families. The same hidden truth that had been buried for years was finally spoken aloud. Not as blame, but as fact. The room went silent. His parents' expressions changed instantly. For the first time, they were not in control of the situation. Everyone now understood what had really happened in the past, and how unfairly the fiancé had been judged because of it. But the main character did not argue. He did not raise his voice. He simply stood beside his fiancée, calm and steady. The wedding continued, and in that silence, the biggest emotional victory was achieved. No shouting, no drama, just truth and respect finally restored. As the ceremony ended, One thing was clear. Sometimes revenge is not about hurting others. It is about letting the truth speak at the right time.